Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today on Masechtas Gittin daf Pei Tes. We are going to begin on Pei Chesam and Beis by the Mishnah. It says the Masnisa, Yotza Shema Be'ir. Let's say you have a rumor that's going out in the city, Mikudeshes, that she got married, so Harizu Mikudeshes. So we're going to assume, based on that rumor, that that's the case, says Rashi. Penuya. So she was a Penuya. Shetzel Koil Ploinis Miskadeshes Hayoim Laploini. That she got married on a particular day. V'yesh Devarim Nirin Kedvafarshi Amaroi B'Gemara. The Amaroim are going to explain how there's some type of a hint to this being a accurate rumor. So the din is Harzim Mikudeshes V'lo Tinasel Achabol Get. So we're chayshish that she got married, and therefore she cannot marry anyone else unless she gets a get from this first guy. Then the Mishnah says, let's say there's a rumor of Megareshus, she got divorced, hers is Megareshus. Says Rashi, we are thinking the Hachikarmer. Aishas Koyin, let's say she's the wife of a Kohen, Shatzalekol Ploinis Nizgarsha Hayoim, that she got divorced, Harizu Megareshus, she's considered to be divorced based on this rumor, Vyasur Leishev Oi Tachtav. She can no longer be with this man who she was married to. If it's talking about getting divorced and we're being lenient, that she can marry whomever she wants, that way we cannot explain it. Just because we hear a rumor doesn't mean we're going to allow her to marry whoever she wants. That strong rumor cannot be. It's the reason why I'm going to ask a question. How is this possible that we're going to be asking her to her husband based on a rumor? Back in the Mishnah, there cannot be some type of a malta, which is like Aramaic for a mushal, some type of an excuse for the reason why this is going on. So, Ezuhi Amalta, says the Mishnah. What is an example of that? Girish ish ploini es ishto al tanai. Let's say, for example, this man divorced this woman on a condition. There was a tanai. Says Rashi, Zeu shoiver shel gershin shemulut niskayim hatanai. So this will kind of like break the notion, because if he was not mikayim the tanai, if the condition wasn't fulfilled, then they're not divorced. Zark la kidusheha safik karv lo zuhi amaltala. Let's say, for example, when it comes to Kedushin, if let's say he threw her the Kesef Kedushin, as we'll see in 2 days from now, the din is that it depends. Is it close to her or to him? Since we're not sure, so this could be a way of breaking the potential rumor. Says the Gemara, because maybe it's not true. Maybe she really is not Mikudeshes. Says the Gemara. In fact, the Gemara, Vyasrinan la agavra. How do we understand this? So she's married, and there's a rumor that she got divorced. So based on the rumor of her being divorced, we're going to say she cannot be with her husband. I thought we learned that any time, and we've seen this before, when it comes to a marriage, once a woman's married, we're not going to listen to rumors. This is how I understand the Mishnah. If there's a rumor in the city that she may have been Mikudeshes. We heard that this girl got engaged, so Harizu Mikudeshes. In that situation, right, we are going to be chayshish, maybe she's married, and therefore we're not going to allow her to marry, to be Makabel Kedushin from anyone else, unless this first guy gives her a get. Mikudeshes and Mugureshes. Let's say she got engaged and she got divorced, as we continue to pay Tesam on Aleph, Harzum Mugureshes. In that situation, we will say that she is divorced. And Rashi is Muteres L'Kol. So my time, what is the reason? Because Kol, the Shoivro Imo, because you have a rumor, but then you have something else that breaks the original rumor. So another rumor breaks the first rumor. So even though you heard Mikudeshes, but there's another rumor Megareshes, so the second rumor removes the first one. And therefore she's like back to being a Penuya. Fine. Rashi says, Yatzala, Omer Rava, Yatzala Shem Mizana Be'ir. Let's say there's a rumor that she was mazana. Says Rashi, L'ovid kachavim l'eved shepoisels min kahuna. So if she was with an eved or an ovid kachavim, the din is that will possible from kahuna because she's considered to be a zaina. Ein chayshishin law. That rumor we're not going to listen to, and we're not going to ask her to kahuna. My time up pritzusa ba'almahu dechazule. Yeah. So it's maybe, says Rashi, says shesachaka b'shuk or miachla bein dadeha. So maybe you saw them conversing and being jestful in the marketplace, or pressing his body against her breasts. So this is not necessarily proof that they actually had tashmish. So therefore, we're not going to answer her for marrying a Kohen based on this. So the Gemara says, actually, ketanoi. Achel b'shuk, if you see eating in the street, gir gura b'shuk, or she has a her neck, says Rashi, holcha netuyas garoin, she goes with her neck up, which again it shows like brazenness. Henika b'shuk, like nursing in the marketplace. Bekul and Rameir Omer Teitze. Based on this, you leave that marriage because this is such lewd behavior. Rabbi Kiva Omer Mishiyisu, once she gets married already, V'yitnaba Muzarois Abulvan, you have these women who are spinners and they're talking about her. In that situation, that already is more problematic because there's rumors are getting all over the place. Says Rashi, Nashim Hatayis B'shuk, they weave in the marketplace, or Halavana, by the moonlight, but Darkan Lasuach Siches Pateles. They're known to speak idle chatter. Uadaber B'chashudais Shibir. And they're known to talk about all the different rumors that are going on in the city. So once you hear that, then that becomes problematic. You're not going to find any girl that's going to be able to remain with her husband, says Rashi. Sheish oivim moitzim kol bechinam beremez muat. Based on the smallest little thing, people unfortunately look at the worst sometimes in people, and therefore they're just going to start spreading rumors which are totally false. So just because you have these people that are engaged in idle chatter, all of a sudden, because they say it, that's going to answer her? How could you do that? V'tar amra ki matzah ba'ervas davar. It's lahoda oimer al pi shnaim edem al pi shleisha edem yakum davar. Mal laholon davar borer. You need to have some level of clarity over here. Avkan davar borer. And therefore, because of that, again, this is why it's a machlokas tanoim, that he says, no, that's not the case. She's not going to be teitze because of that. Tanuban. Ba'ula, if, let's say, yatsa al basula be'ir ko ba'ula. So there's a girl who's a basula, and everyone's saying, oh, she was a ba'ula. And I know that she had tashmish. So in chayshin, we're not concerned to answer her to a Kohen Gadol based on that. Maybe she was engaged in pritzusa ba'alma. That's all they saw. But it doesn't necessarily mean that she actually had tashmish. Nesua ein chashishin law, says Rashi. Yatsa al panuya kol shehi nesua. If, let's say, people say regarding a girl who is single that she is not only engaged but she's married, we're not going to listen to that either, because she has a chazaka that she's a panuya. So we're not going to assume that she's married, that she already had nesuin. Arusa in chashishin law. Also, when it comes to an arusa, we're not going to be chashish that she's engaged. Shalol plani ein chashishin law. So also, let's see all these Rashis. The kol damastisen hainu she'omrim hayoim niskacha ploinus. The reason why in our Mishnah that says that the rumor has some validity that we're chashish the kedushin is because they said it just happened today. So that could break the chazaka. But if you just say it's stam, we're not going to believe you. Also, by an arusa, let's say there's a rumor that she's an arusa for many days. Shalol ploini yatza lehakoil shemukadeshes hayom. There's a rumor that she got married today. Avol lo hiskiru shemo, but it doesn't mention the guy's name. Because this is a problem. If you say she's engaged, but you don't mention the guy's name, so then she's going to be ushered to the whole world. So that much of a rumor we're not going to listen to. But if they specified and mention the person's name, so now at least she's going to be mutter potentially to be with this guy on some level. Of course, we'd want him to do another kedushin. Be'ir acheres in chayshishin law, says Rashi, yotzekan kol ploinus, that there is this rumor, miskadeshus hayoim b'makam ploini, that she got engaged in a particular place. Again, we're not chayshish. Mamzeres in chayshishin law, that there's a rumor that she's a mamzer, so we're not going to listen to that either. Shivcha in chayshishin law, if they say that she's a shivcha, we're not going to listen to that either. Hikdish ploin in a chasiv, this man was makdish all of his possessions. Hifker ploin in a chasav, he was mafker all of his things. Ein chayshish lahen. Again, we're not going to listen to them to aser these items on this person. Omer ula lo shishamu kol havara. It's not that they heard a kol havara, which is like an echo. Ela kidei shihu neris dolkais. What happened was they actually saw candles that were lit. Umitos mutsois, and the beds were made. Ubnei adam nechnasim v'yotzim. People were coming in and going out. V'oimrim ploinus miskadeshus hayoim. So it looked like almost like a vart. There was an engagement party based on all the things going around. So miskadeshus, that she's getting engaged. I have a dimul ikadsha. How do we know? Just because they have some candles lit, how do you know that they're married? Ema ploinus niskadsha. Rather, they say that this girl got married hayoim. That's what it's talking about. Says Rashi, Babayas kederech hamiskadshois. When a person gets engaged, no hagen simcha, they have joy, or ner, and they light candles. That's what's explained. So in that situation, we say that this is a rumor that she actually got engaged, but it has to be that he said that ploinus niskach hayoim, that it happened today. Because if it didn't happen today, so again, she has maybe a cheskas panuya. V'chein tani levi lo sheyishmu koil havara. It's not that you just heard like the echo of some type of a rumor. El kadeshi hu neros dolkos. You had the candles lit. Mitais mutzais. The beds were made. V'nashim tois or haner, and women were sewing by the candles. Usamechos, and they were bringing joy, b'oimros, and they were saying ploinus miskadeshas hayom miskadeshas. So in that situation, we're going to assume that she probably is engaged. V'dilmu lo akash, maybe not. So Papa ema ploinus niskacha hayoim, that it was done today. Omer Rabbi B'Marchana Omer Rabbi Yochanan lo shishamu kol havara ela kadeshu neres dolkos. The candles are lit. Midas mutzois. Bnei adam nichnasim yotzim. People are coming in and out. Amru davar zeh hu koil. If they say something, that is the rumor that we're going to be chayshish. Lo amru davar zeh amaltala. But if they say nothing, then saying nothing actually will break the original idea because of all these things. So lo amru, 1 second, if they say nothing, v'ha lo amru v'lo klum. If no one said anything, there's no rumor in the first place. So you don't need to say, oh, we need an amaltala. So afukim and rabba bar Rav Huna the amr amaltala she'amru. When we mention this way of breaking the rumor, afil mekan biad yud yamim, even within 10 days. Kamashwan lo amru hu dehavi amaltala ha'amru lo havi amaltala. The amaltala must come out at the same time as the coals, the rumor. It's not an amaltala if it's later produced 10 days later. Let's look at question 11 and TB 28. Ha'im amaltala shayveres as kol. Does the amaltala break the original rumor that filled kishiyatzel achar zman miyatza hakoil? So, according to this opinion, according to Rabbi Yochanan be'inan shiyatz b'yachad im hakoil. It actually has to come out then. However, we're going to see Rav Huna, as we're going to see now, afil mekan bi'ad asar yamim. That even, which we saw, that even if it's later on. Even if the maltula took place after the rumor, it's still considered to break the rumor. Okay. Amar Vaba, Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rav, Lo Shishamu Kol Havara, Elokadei Shamu Ploini Mehechin, Shama Maploini, Ploini Maploini. So it means rather that he heard from him, etc., etc. Ubaidkin V'holchen, they were baidik into the matter, Ad Shemagian L'davar Habor, until there was clarity on this matter. So let's look at the Kamash one. L'achin Kamer. Lo Gomer Hadavar L'haitzi Koil. If let's say the rumor hasn't completed, Mekuyim Mesuyim Elohaitzi Shomer Imakoil, it means that the Amaltala came together at the same time as the rumor. Kagon Niskacha Ploinis specific. So it's unsure whether or not she was engaged. Havi Amaltala. That's because they didn't say anything. Amru Davar Mekuyim Mesuyim Sul Mahanya Amaltala. However, once they actually said something and that was it, Amaltala will not help anymore. Okay. Back in the Gemara. Davar habaror, if you have clarity, so Eidus Mal Yasahu. L'char, that's considered to be like good enough real testimony. El Kiyas Rav Shmuel Bar Yehuda Amar Rav Abba Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav Lo Sheshama Kol Havara. It's not just you just heard like an echo. El Kadesh Yamru Pleni Mehecha Shama. Until you say Kadesh Yamru Ploni Mehechin Shama. They said, from where did you hear about it? Meploni, I heard it from Ploni. Uploni Meploni, I heard it from him and him. And the original source is not here. So I can't verify the original source as they left to Medina Sayyam. Armali Abai Rav Yosef. Mevatlinan koa olo mevatlinan. Can we be mevatel a rumor or not? Says Rashi. Shamanu koil yaitz mepi nashim v'tinaikas mashtikin lahu levatuli kala loy mishtadkin lahu. The question, lo mishtadkin lahu. So the question: if you hear a rumor, what's the din? Do we just assume that can it be mavatalit from something later on? It says Rashi. Now mi chazrois ploini. Let's say the source comes back from Medina Siyam. It's not true. So it's another explanation. If you hear a rumor, again, it's not absolutely bar. We know who it originated from. That person's not here. Once, let's say, the person does come back, and you can say, no, that wasn't true. So is that enough to be able to remove the original rumor, which you would think it should, because the original source is admitting that it wasn't true. They actually have to hear it from the mouths of Ksherim Shmamina Mivatlin Kol, that we are Mivatl. Says Rashi, Alma, Akil Rabban B'milsa. We see that they're obviously lenient. Shmamina De'im B'dikne, if you examine the situation, Basar Hachi, Nishtakach Shikra, and you find that the rumor was a lie, Mivatlin Le, we're Mivatlet. Umachrizin Lav Kolahu, we announced that this was not a valid rumor, and therefore, therefore she's allowed to get married based on that new information. So Amalei Adarabba, Midyaimer, Rav Sheshes of Nashim Havi Koil, since it says even women can create this rumor, Shmamin Olamabatlin and Kola. So maybe we're so strict that we shouldn't be Mavatalit. Amalei at Ravasa Ninhu Betsura, says Rashi, Min Kaimais Chalukin B'Minhagam. There's places where there's different customs in different places. So Bisura Mavatali Kola, Benarda Lo Mavatali Kola. So it all depends where you are whether or not a rumor can be removed. Hahid Nafik Ola Kola Diskadsha Lebar Beirav. So there was a rumor that this girl was engaged to such a person. Asi Rav Chama Lavua. So Rav Chama went to her father, Amalei, and he said to her, Emily Hechi Havi Ubda, tell me what happened. Amalei al Tanai Kaddish. I did receive a Kedushin, but it was based on a condition. On condition that I don't go to this particular place. But I went, and therefore I did not fulfill the Tanai, and therefore I'm not really engaged. Since at the time that the rumor was spread. There was not this information. Lav kol kiminach, we no longer believe you. The machzakas amaltala, to rely on this amaltala. So again, we see it has to be done, as we saw before, at least according to one opinion, it must be done, the amaltala, at the same time as the rumor. But if the rumor took place and then only afterwards we have this logical explanation, we have to be more concerned. Another story. Ahina nafikola kol de akdisha be'atsipa de tuchla. So there was a story. This person got engaged by these dates that are not ripened yet. So Rashi says, when you eat them, nishar min ha'oichel al hagorin. So some of the food gets stuck to the pit. Shino nifrin mimeno doesn't get separated very well. Then you should move with shells because it's not completely ripe. Vahu oichel karit tzipa. So that food which is connected to the pit is called tzipa. So anyway, that's what's mentioning in this place. Be'ena de be shipe, in the eyes of the be shipe. Okay, which is this ma'ayin of such a location. So Shalach Rabbi Idi Baravin L'Kamed Abba Ki Hai Gavna Mai. What's the din in this situation? Samalei Nafilma Diarmer Lamatlin and Kala. Even normally, we're not going to remove a rumor. Baham Avatlin and Kala. In this situation, we will remove a rumor. Meimer Amri. Maybe we'll say Ainu Bahu Rabban B'Kedushaha, that the Rabban analyzed and looked into the Kedusha. Lo Havi Bahu Shavapruta, and Itaka wasn't even a Shavapruta given, and therefore it wasn't Mikudashas because he gave this thing which is insignificant. Again, as we continue to pay Testament Bays, there was a story of a rumor that this particular person got engaged. L'chad mibnei planya, says Rashi. So it doesn't mention exactly which person it was, but one of these people. Even though normally you don't remove this a rumor, here we will. They actually looked into the kedushin, and this was a katan, and therefore the kedushin was not chal. Let's look at question 14. Adam shigiris ishto alpha bishalatza shalo meitzeba or erva velo dup. Okay, I didn't do that yet. Okay. Okay. Fighter. So there's a rumor that this girl got engaged to a katan, which again the kedushin is nothing. It was a katan. Hanira kagadol, but he was a big guy, so he looked like he was an adult. Amalei Rav Mordechai Ravashi, have you this happened? V'yamar adayin lo higia liflagois Ruvain. You haven't even reached this time of this the knowledge of Ruvain. Says Rashi, Komer ein chachma. Even though he's very knowledgeable, Nikarhu Labriyais B'masav Shehu Katan B'Shanim. He still acts like a child, and therefore it's obvious. Remember, Amri Yainu Rabbanim B'Kedusha Have a Katan B'Shanim Hu. Shnemer Lif Lagois Ruvain Gedolim Chikri Lev. Adults are people who have Chikri Lev, who have knowledge. So even though a person could look physically mature, but once you engage in conversation with them, it's obvious it was a katan. This is what they figured out, so therefore there's nothing to be choishish. So Amar Rabbi Barhuna Amaltala Shomer, who said, Shomer afilu mekan bi'ad asar yamim, even if it takes place much after the rumor. Rav Zvid Amar b'makam Amaltala, it has to be at the time of the rumor. If b'mkoim Amaltala, choishin Amaltala. So let's look at Rashi. If let's say all it does is mention a place, from it you could somehow derive some excuse. So even based on some small chance, you can employ an amaltala to remove a rumor. So it says, provided that it does not have an amaltala. Says Rashi, Alma amaltala behedya beinan. It needs to actually be a real excuse. So Amalei bimkoim amalto lekaimer. So you have to insert the word makoim. Amalei Rav Kahana Rav Papa yatlo tizbro, but you yourself don't hold this. Vanan niskad shivachah bal bala. Let's say a person is mekadesh a woman, and afterwards, v'achar bal bala, and she has tashmish muteres lachsor. So she's allowed to go back without a get from the second guy. So this is referring to, again, she was miskadesh. Says Rashi, but not isha shalch balam dinas yom. You have a woman, her husband went to another country. Your husband died. Based on this one man's testimony, we allow her to get remarried. Muteres lachso l'rishon. Let's say if her husband comes back and the aid was wrong, so she can go back to her original husband. The ilu gabi nises. If let's say she married the second guy, Katani Hostam Tatum Zemazeh, she actually has to leave both relationships. The Afagab the Anusihi, even though it was not her fault, Shara Basin the Hurieli Nase. The basin said, oh, okay, you can get married, your husband's dead. Because of the chashash that people shouldn't say that she actually got divorced from the first guy. When Nasa Shani and she married the second guy rightfully, Yakshav, he Zerislo, Mishinises. And all of a sudden, it looks like Maxar Gurushaso. We're allowing her to go back to her original husband? What do you mean? If she was really divorced, and then she married some other guy, and then how could she go back to this first husband? So that's a problem. Avagami Niskansha, when it comes to Kedusha, Lechashin Lahachi. My time, Chazer Sarishain, Vlot Sricha get Misheni. She does not need to get from the second guy. Hari Ein Lach Yatza, Shema Be'ir, Mikadeshus, so only by Kedushin, not by Nesuin. It says Gabi Niskacha. So it was done with two men. She doesn't need to get from the second man and go back to the first husband, since people will think the second Kedushin was only Tanai and not a real Kedushin. There was not an Amaltala, but it's Bimakoim. It's a possibility. So that's what's being brought over here. So let's go back into the Gemara. So it says, Niskad Shavyachach Babala, let's say, and after her husband comes back, right, from Dinas Yom, that's what it really means, Muteres Laksar, so she's allowed to go back to her original husband without a get from the second guy. So we're not concerned about that. La Mishum, and we're not concerned that maybe people are going to think it's Masik Rish also. La Mishum Damrin and Al Tanai Kaddish. People think that the whole Kedushin of the second guy was Al Tanai, and therefore, based on that, maybe the Tanai wasn't fulfilled. That's why she didn't need to get from the second guy. She can go back to her first husband. No, Shani Hasam de Asibal Vikama Arer. It's maybe because the husband will say, I'm not dead, so she's still married to me. So therefore, it's a different situation. So Yahachi Nises Nami. Why is it only by Kedushin? Why can't she go back to her first husband if she didn't Nesuin? So Nises, of the Isura, since she already did Nesuin, that's an Isur already of having be with him. Kansur Rabbanan, the Rabbanan give her a Kanas. Don't allow her to go back. However, the Skansha, if all those Kedushin, the loy of the Isura, lo Kansur Rabbanan. Ravashi. Kol, any rumor, which was not established and based in or investigated, lav kalahu. That's not considered to be a rumor. Says Rashi, shul bodku based in acharav shlotehe shmias kol havara. So, in order for them to be able to determine that it's actually a valid rumor, the Beis Din has to do some investigation. If not, then it's nothing. Fine. Yomer Ravashi kol kala the basar nisuin. We saw this before, that once a woman is married, we're not going to listen to rumors. Says Rashi, Nisas Yom, she's married today. Let's say she's married to the first guy, and then people are saying, oh yeah, I heard that she got married to this different person before the other guy. We're not going to ask her to her husband that maybe she actually was accepting Kedushin from the first guy, from someone else before. She doesn't need a get. Because if she does get a get, Nimsas Israel Zesh Demach Zekes Lakov Nimsas Boil Ashes Ish. The kaimulon kishim shasul bal kachasul boil. So remember Rashi called the basa the sunnah chashin le. Had the basa eris and chashin le. After eris we are still chayish. Rav Chaviva Omer feel the basa eris and namil chashin le. Even after eris we're not going to be chayish. Hilchas le chashin le. The hilchas we're not. Rabbi Yomi Barab Sholcha le Mebe Rav Shmuel Yolam Tenu Rabbeinu. We learn Yotzalek Koil Marishain. If there's a rumor from this first person, Uva Acher Vikitsha, and then someone comes afterwards, Makadisher Kedushi Torah, a real Kedushin Mahu. What is the din in that situation? What do we do in the event that someone presents themselves in this way? So the Gemara says as follows. So Shalchahu Teitze, she has to leave the marriage, but Tamido Hadavar al Borio. We have to do investigation regarding this matter. V'hoidi oini. So let me know what happened. Mai v'hamidu hadavar al Borio. What does that mean? Ili imagalia milsa. If it becomes revealed, the kedushi, the kamal of kedushi malinin, who the first marriage was nothing. Mavatlinan called, and we're going to remove the rumor. V'anor dayamri, they said the Shmuel v'lo mavatli kol, and he holds that you don't remove the rumor. El the imagali milsa the kedushi kama kedushi malinin, who if let's say it turned out that the first marriage was actually valid, so she's really married to the first guy. Let's get misheni, you no longer need to get from the second guy. Let's say she stretched out her hands. Vikibla kedushin me'acher, and she was makabel kedushin from someone else. Mikudeshes. It's mikudeshes as far as Rashi says the suriyach get lasheni. She'll need to get from the second guy. Midrab hamnuna. Diam Rab hamnuna isha sharmu labala. Well, a woman says to her husband, Girashtani, I am divorced. Nemenes, we believe her. We're not going to believe that she's just lying to her husband. It must be that she's telling the truth that she's divorced. The idach, and according to Shmuel, that's only when she's in front of him that she would not be brazen. Not in front of him, maybe she would in fact be brazen. Question 12. Where they argue with regard to a married woman, she pashta yada, she stretched out her hand, the kibbutz kedushin me'acher, she accepted kedushin from someone else, imekudeshes. So Rab Huna holds mekudeshes. Why? Mid Rab Hamnuna the isha she'amru labala gerashtani the enu me'iza. She's not going to have chutzpah. Shmuel says shebelow b'fana me'iza hilkach enu mekudeshes. Only in front will she be made. Not Mayez. However, not in front of him, she would be Mayez to say something which isn't true, and therefore she is not Mikudeshas. Weiter. Lo matzu davar al bor yamahu. Let's say you can't verify the rumor. So Omer Rav Huna migarsh rishon, divorce the first. The nice sheni, marry the second. Of the migarsh sheni, if you divorce the second, the nice rishon lo. Not to marry the first guy. My time, because people are going to think, since the second guy gave her a get, must be that she was actually married to the second guy, and therefore she should not be allowed to go back to the first guy because that's Maksar Rishaso. Rav Shinna Bered Rav Idi Omer Avmigar Sheni, also in the situation where she got divorced by the second guy, Vanoisa Rishon, Meimer Amri, they're going to say, Aini Rabban B'Kedushi Telos Havi. They're going to say it's not a problem. Obviously, the Rabban looked into the matter, and we're not going to think that she was actually divorced, because everyone's going to understand there was probably Kedushi Tais. Rashi, Lo Yomer Shegir Shetchila, Shakol Lo Yadu Beget Datsuchu Misheni. So we're going to actually require, again, it's not going to be an issue. They're going to say that the Rabban looked into the matter. Yatzaleh, someone's going to think that the guy was Maskru Shasai. Yatzakol Lehem Mizeh Mizeh. Let's say there was two rumors. What's the din? So my papa Avzu Migar Shrishim the nice Shani. Also in this situation, divorced the first one and marries the second one, and not the other way around because again of Maskru Shasai. You can't do the other way around. A Maimar Oimer Muteris L'Shneim. Maimar says you're actually mutter to both of them. Behilchasa Muteris L'Shneim. What does that mean? Klaimer Af Megar Sheni Also, if you're divorced, the second one, but nicer Isha, then you marry the first one, even in that situation, he will agree. Adkan.